What's up, Mecha fans, and welcome back to the channel. So today we have some very exciting but maybe concerning news for some people, and that is an official announcement regarding the Mobile Suit Gundam live action film. But before we dive into it, please do leave a like on this video and subscribe if you're a fan of mecha anime content and want to see plenty more videos like this in the future. Also, head on down to the comment section below, let me know what you think of a Gundam live action film going ahead. What do you hope to see from it? Do you hope that it adapts the original Gundam series, or do you hope that it does its own original thing? Now, this does come from a press release document from Bandai Namco, so this is very much official. This is straight from the source, as official as it can possibly be. Legendary and Bandai Namco Filmworks sign agreement to co-finance first ever live action Gundam film. Also, as a base for the overseas expansion of the Gundam series, Bandai Namco Filmworks America will be established. We then dive into the details of this agreement that's been signed, basically saying that Bandai Namco Filmworks, a member of the Bandai Namco Group, and Legendary have signed an agreement in January 2025 to co-finance Gundam, which is the tentative name for it, which will be, of course, a Hollywood live-action film adaptation of the Mobile Suit Gundam series. No details on what the specific plot line is, or no details on that, simply that it is an adaptation of the Gundam series. Now, then it goes into a whole paragraph about what Gundam is, essentially, like detailing the history of when it began broadcasting, what the general themes are of it, what it explores on a storytelling level, and then, of course, how long it's been running for, how many series we have, movies. Of course, then it mentions that it's created by Yoshiyuki Tomino. Gundam is an internationally renowned franchise with a wide range of product and service categories in addition to the content, generating over $900 million annually, which I believe it made $1 billion in the 2023-2024 period. This will be its first live action film, which is technically not true because we do have G-Savior, but I think that's classed more as a TV film. It does mention then that it's going to be produced by Legendary Pictures, which we know. The film is directed and written by Jim Mickle, who of course was brought on board back in October, I think, of 2024, and the film will be released worldwide in theatres. All that kind of stuff we knew, but it's nice to have confirmation and, kind of further cementing all of these things that had been told to us before. Correct me if I'm wrong, this might be the first we've actually heard straight from the source of Bandai that Jim Mickle is directing. Now, it did come from very reliable sources, of course, initially. This is coming from Bandai themselves. We plan to steadily announce details as they become finalized, which, based on the fact that things seem to be moving ahead, we could well and truly get those details sooner than we were maybe expecting. So what does that all mean then? Essentially, this film is now greenlit. Before it was announced, and for those that don't know kind of the ins and outs of creation and making films, the TV industry, the film industry, probably the anime industry as well, for something to be announced does not necessarily mean it's greenlit. It is not confirmation that that thing will be made. It is essentially that there is a idea, a little bit of a plan in place for this thing, we're doing something with it. Greenlighting it basically means that most of the time, it's usually when a script's in place. This might not be the case just yet, but it's essentially like the production committee committing to making this thing, to financing it, giving it the budget it needs, starting to pull together crew and cast and all this kind of stuff, and start to put the things in place for this thing to actually be made. So it's no longer just an idea or a concept, it is a tangible thing that is actually going to happen, and it's essentially writing in contract that, yeah, we're going to do this. Things can then be pulled out and some things get greenlit and never release, but generally when something's greenlit, it means it is moving ahead in terms of production, whether that's pre-production, post-production, or production itself. So that's essentially what this means. Like, the Gundam live-action film is now going ahead. It is no longer just, we announce it, but it's never actually going to see the light of day. No, they're very serious about making this thing now, and for a while, we didn't know whether it was going to happen. I mean, we went 3 years without hearing anything from 2018 through to 2021 when we got that first look at the film, and then, of course, the video from Jordan Vogt Roberts, and then again, we went like a whole 3 years of practically hearing nothing until it was announced that Jordan Vogt Roberts had dropped out and Jim Mickle would direct, and also that Netflix were no longer working on it. It was no longer going to be a Netflix film, which I'm very glad about personally, because I want to see this thing theatrically. I think it'll look fantastic on the big screen, if done well, of course, and if given the appropriate time and budget. But yeah, this thing's happening, and of course now, within the past 4 months, we've gotten a new director, and now we've essentially got the green light on the film. So it's only a matter of time before we start to hear more things like potential story details of what it's going to adapt or what it's not going to adapt, because it may well just be original. I want to say that is the safest bet, and Gundam is known for making plenty of alternate universe stories, so it's not out of the realm of possibility, and that's what I'm personally leaning towards. But we're not really talking about that here, we're talking about the cold hard facts that we have on display. And speaking of cold hard facts, this next part is also another very interesting thing. Now, in addition, Bandai Namco Filmworks America, a North American subsidiary, will be established on April 1st, 2025 for the production of Gundam. This will become a wholly owned subsidiary of Bandai Namco Holdings USA, which is the North American regional management company of the Bandai Namco Group, and will work together with Bandai Namco Filmworks to expand its licensing business and the brand value of the Gundam series overseas. Please look forward to the new challenges of the Gundam series in the future, and then it essentially just details what Legendary is, what Bandai Namco Holdings is, what Bandai Namco Filmworks is like as an entity. This to me, I want to say, is probably the more interesting part. Like, initially, obviously everyone's going to say, yeah, like the thing that everyone's going to talk about is the fact that, yeah, this live action Gundam film's going ahead. But to me, this establishes the future of what we're going to see from Gundam, really, especially overseas. Now, for a long time, Gundam just was never bought into by Western audiences, maybe because it was just too complex, or for a long time, Western audiences, see giant robots, they expect it to be just giant robots fighting. And because Gundam doesn't really deliver that, like, obviously it does, but it's way more than that. Like, it's more so a story about people and war. And I guess Western audiences, I don't want to say they're dumb. This is probably going to sound like I'm saying they're dumb, but I guess they just weren't ready for it. Like, that's not something that we're really interested in. Now, though, I feel like the world has generally changed. Everyone is more, like, awake to political stuff. Everyone's more aware of things going on in the world. People are more tuned into that kind of stuff. So then I think people appreciate more complex storytelling. Things that really do challenge you. And I feel like that is what Gundam does. So now I feel like the Western audiences are generally more ready for something that has a bit more meat to it, like in terms of complex ideas. We've kind of moved on from the days of guaranteed blockbuster hits and all this kind of stuff where people will go out in droves, like as a guarantee, to watch the latest Marvel film or to watch the latest franchise film. Now, Gundam is a franchise, of course, but to Western audiences, for the most part, it's something completely new. Gundam Requiem for Vengeance, of course, is a kind of nice little testing the waters in terms of interest and how much people will connect with Gundam from the perspective of American created Gundam. Obviously, depending on this film's success, we may well see a lot more Gundam stuff from America, from Western creatives, whether that's in the form of anime, whether that's in the form of video games, for example, or a general animated series, a live action series, whatever it may be. I think we're going to see a lot more Gundam, not only coming out of Japan, because of course that's still going to continue, but we may well see more Gundam coming out of an American market and American audiences, American creatives, Western creatives, whatever you want to say. I think we're going to kind of see two sides of Gundam now, which I hope generally stay within the same realm of storytelling, in terms of quality of storytelling, I guess. But I don't know, it's a potentially exciting time. I'm down for some more different things and more different creatives to kind of try their hand at this franchise, add their own ideas into it, and that, as long as it's kind of like alternate universe and doesn't completely mess around with pre-established stuff, at least in terms of a pre-established universe like Universal Century, for example, then I'm excited. I'm interested to see how this whole thing goes. Of course, I'm nervous and concerned because usually whenever America takes hold of a franchise from Japan or from anywhere else in the world other than America, it doesn't always go well, but I feel like they're starting to get it. They're starting to understand why something works for a certain audience, why it connects with that certain audience. Could go either two ways. It could be absolutely awful, but I feel like we've got to the point now where live action anime can work. And if anything can work in live action, it is Gundam. That's all we have to talk about today regarding the live action Gundam movie. Before I get out there, please do leave a like on this video and subscribe if you are a fan of Mecha anime content and want to see plenty more videos like this in the future. Also, like I said earlier, head on down to the comment section below. Let me know what you think of this news. What do you think of this new Bandai Namco Filmworks America kind of subsidiary being established? Do you think it can only mean good things for Gundam, or are you kind of ready for a possible destruction, if you will, of the Gundam franchise once America takes hold of it? Or at least once they start to put a little bit of their stamp on it. Thank you once again for tuning into Mecha Chat today. I'll see you guys next time.